Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about This Poison Heart by, I believe it's pronounced Callan Baron? Callan Baron? I don't know how to pronounce the author's name and I do apologise for that. Um, Baron wrote... This is the author that wrote Cinderella is Dead, which I read earlier this year and I thought that was a pretty solid debut. It was, I think I gave it about three and a half stars. I really liked it, but there were some bits that I don't want to say it was some bits that could have been improved because that implies I could have done it better, and I really can barely string two sentences together in a video, let alone on a page. But it was a solid debut. Could see a lot of potential in the author, and whilst there were bits throughout it that I really enjoyed, there were some bits I was like, it didn't quite click. But it did a good enough job that it made me want to pick up the second novel by this author. This Poison Heart is basically about Breesis, who's a 15-ish-year-old girl, adopted, family fully open about the adoption, but she has this incredible ability to not control plants but grow plants, as in here's a seed, here's the flower within a few seconds. She has this incredible affinity for them. When she walks into a room, plants all sort of like almost like shift and move and pay attention to her. It's really fascinating. It's really interesting how they like go about explaining it. And yeah, basically one day she's at home with her two mums, and they receive this visit from an estate solicitor, basically letting her know that her blood mum had died a few years ago, which they already knew, but her birth mum's sister, so basically her aunt, has just recently passed away and has left her estate. All very out of the blue. She didn't even know this aunt existed. And yeah, the estate consists of huge sprawling grounds and this massive house that is not quite in the middle of nowhere, but it's sort of like upstate New York, where when the story begins, they are in Brooklyn. As I try to remember my New York states, my New York areas there. So yeah, they decide to move into this house. Things are not going great financially for them in Brooklyn. This is almost seen as like a fresh start. And our story evolves from there as they sort of like find and discover and try to unravel the mysteries surrounding Breesis's birth family and like what's going on with the house, what's going on with the town. And yeah, that is roughly the premises. If I tell you any more, I'm going to get into major spoiler territories, and I'd like to avoid that. But yeah, like I said, reading this was such... I don't want to say it was a warm hug in a book, because I suspect I use that phrase quite often sometimes. But it was just such a lovely, charming read. I really liked the characters. I could tell the improvement with... Our characters were a lot more fleshed out and just felt a lot more real than Cinderella is Dead. You could tell that this is an author who put out the solid debut, and instead of going, yeah, that worked, let's continue with that, she took what she wrote in there and went, this is how I can improve. And she applied those lessons to This Poison Heart, which is... That in itself, I think, is going to make her an auto-buy author for me, because I've really, really enjoyed this. It's so charming. Characters are at the heart of this. There is bad guys in it, but you don't really know who they are until the end. It's like a, oh my god, it was you all along sort of moment. I mean, I kind of saw it coming, but at the same time, it wasn't massively obvious, but it kind of was. But it was kind of like, okay, I knew there was something up with you, but aww. And then there's one where you're like, you're a bit shifty. I don't know, I kind of want to trust you anyway, but you're just a bit... And that's cool. I do get to trust you. That's nice. yeah, I feel like I really came to love the characters, especially the moms. They were the ultimate, the best highlight, the absolute like highlight of this book is the moms. Um, Not only do we get to see a non-traditional family, we get to see supportive parents in fantasy. I mean, okay, I know they exist in fantasy, but they're not typical, are they? I I guess it's different because like when I go to fantasy, like I don't necessarily read a lot of contemporary fantasy. I read a lot of epic fantasy. I'm currently reading Brandon Sanderson again right now. You know, we don't see a lot of parents, let alone supportive parents. We see a lot of dead parents, unfortunately. We see a lot of, I mean, I've even read at times where it's like, oh yeah, the parents are there, but yeah, they're just kind of there in the background. We don't really see a lot of interaction with them. It's very much like the kids are left to do their own thing. So I love that the parents are main characters. They are fully fleshed out, have their own personality. They're more than just a mom. They're they are their own character, and their interactions with Braces is just they feel organic. They feel lovely. They just feel like Killen Baron. Kudos, massive kudos. I really hope you continue to write familial relationships to this extent, this way. I really hope that you continue to embrace this because this I absolutely loved what you did with this. Um, they're so accepting of Braces and who she is. They're encouraging. You know, she makes a new friend and like go make friends because they've seen that how previous friendships have gone for her. They've seen that she's not happy and they've moved to this place and they're seeing that she's happy and they're like, okay, it's not what we expected. It's maybe a little bit scarier than we expected, but we're seeing how happy she is and that's making us happy. And like, I'm in danger of gushing. I'm already gushing, let's face it, but they are just so wonderful. Honestly, they are what I love the most about this book. They are just, yeah, they're accepting. This is not a story where, Reese's has kept her powers hidden from everybody, even her parents. Yes, she's kept them hidden, but her parents do know, and to an extent try to encourage and nurture it. Um, because it's not something to be ashamed of. It's not like they just accept that, yeah, it's a little bit weird, but that's just part of you, and we love you, so we love your gift. It's, yeah, the parents are brilliant. I absolutely adore them. I think my one criticism at times is that maybe just like throughout this whole book is there maybe just a bit too accepting, and not too accepting of Breezus, but just too accepting of things that happen. um they do like things happen, and we do have these conversations where it's like, well, okay, should we, I mean, this is a bit maybe we should consider going back. But at the end of the day, oh, phone call. No, don't know you, go away. At the end of the day, oh, I lost my that phone call made me lose my train of thought. We were talking about they were too accepting. Yeah. With the big things, they're not that. I mean, they kind of are. They up and moved to a house within a couple of days that they didn't even know existed. But at the same time, I think I probably would have done the same thing if I were in the same situation. Um, but for things like, there's this brand new friend, you've literally met her once. Yeah, we're totally fine with you like leaving at 9 o'clock at night, being picked up by a chauffeur. I don't know. I read that scene and I was like, I know they're the cool, accepting parents, but oh well. I mean, they're making sure she has her mace. It's 9 o'clock at night. Where the hell are you going at 9 o'clock at night? Maybe this is an American thing that I don't really understand. I don't know. I'm also a homebody. 9 o'clock at night is when I start making a cup of tea and get ready for bed. So I don't know. But yeah, overall, I really, really enjoyed this story. Family and characters are very much at the heart of it. Both finding your roots. If you'll pardon the pun there. So like figuring out where you came from, your family history, is a huge part of the story, whilst also reassuring and accepting that a traditional family is not the be all and end all. There's a huge emphasis on, right, Braces is adopted, and yes, she is wanting to find out more about her blood family, but her moms, her adoptive moms, they are her true family. They are her moms. Um, yeah, it's brilliant. We also have, I didn't quite click because I'm not as familiar, but we have Greek mythology themes running throughout this. Braces was the wife of someone who I can't remember. I can't remember who. Um, so it took me maybe a bit longer to click that way than someone who maybe is a bit more familiar. The house is left to her by Circe, who's her aunt. Um, and as you are sort of like exploring the house, we're finding lots of things where we're, Medea is popping up quite a bit, Hecate is popping up quite a bit. Um, so there is, it's not a retelling, but it's taking some bits of Greek mythology and sort of like how certain families have developed throughout the ages, which I thought was a really interesting, nice little twist. On my TBR shelf in the other room, there is quite a few books on sort of like Greek mythology and retelling. I think it's quite popular right now, and I enjoy a bandwagon. I'm gonna say. So I thought this was just a nice twist. It's like taking that popular theme, but she made it her own. In terms of writing, I think there's definitely been a step up. It felt more coherent. I really don't think I've got anything bad to say about this book. Yeah, I think I'm gonna end this saying I've given it 4.5 stars. It's not quite a 5-star read yet, but I know this author has the potential to really get there. It is a book one. I did not know this picking it up. When you go into the bookstore, there's nothing on the cover that says book one. It ends with the blurb, the summary ends with Embree's long departed ancestors won't let her rest until she finds it. I thought this was going to be its own self-contained story. Cinderella is Dead was, so I kind of had sorry. I guess I had this sort of like expectation that this is a author that writes one-offs, standalones. It's not. I'm interested to see where it's going. It does very much end on a to be continued note. It's very much like a TV series finale. Like, okay, we figured out who the bad guy is, but here's the real plot away to start. So yeah, we're gonna have a bit of an adventure, almost scavenger hunty kind of thing going on in book 2, I think. Curious. I kind of like, I suspect where it's gonna go once we get towards the end, and once we kind of like find the things we need to find. And I think it is gonna be, oh god, I'm really hoping it's not gonna be you have to choose one or t'other. I really hope she manages to find a way, a satisfying way, to either give us both or to be like, that's not a decision we can make. I know that's as vague as it gets, and I do apologize, but I'm very anti-spoiler. Yeah, that's all I can say on it. It is such a wonderful book. If all What I'm going to end this by saying is that if you, like me, have walked past this in the bookstore or the library several times, picked it up, going, it could be interesting, give it a shot. Take a punt on it. I really think if you're in the mood for just a charming read, I think this will work. I think this will really work. Yeah. So I'm going to end it there, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.